Kunja Vihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha, Govinda Radha, Govinda Radhe. Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra, Jai Lakshmi Narasimha, Lakshmi Narasimha, Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Gauranita, Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we are in the third chapter, 14th verse. So in the Parasparam Bhavam, in the mutual understanding with the demigods, the prosperity reigns. You do an yajna for a demigod. Actually, it goes to Krishna only, but still, a person thinks he's giving to demigod. Demigod is also very contented. Okay, they are also getting, and in return, they give a person whatever he desires, various necessities. But it is very clearly said, Yajna Shishta Shinha Santoho Muchante Sarva Kalvishahi Munjate Te Togam Papa Ye Pachantya Karana. One who doesn't have any faith in the rituals, he is only eating sin. On top of that, if a person understands that the Yajna Purusha is Krishna, he is freed from all the sins. But if he performs the sacrifice just to please the demigod and enjoy the sense gratification, again he is eating sin only. Now, in these three aspects are there. He is performing the sacrifice for the demigods. If he doesn't do that, he is eating sin. He has no faith in the sacrifice at all. An atheistic person. Then also he is eating sin. He is performing for the demigods, but uses the results for the sense gratification, eating sin. He is performing the sacrifice with a complete understanding that the ultimate benefactor is Krishna, then he is freed from the sins. Now there are levels of sin. One who doesn't have any faith in the sacrifice, he is also incurring sin, but that sin is the very biggest sin. because he is into indiscriminate, or you can say unrestricted sense enjoyment. He is into unrestricted sense enjoyment. He is not accepting any authority. Leave aside Krishna. He is not accepting when the demigods is an authority. No authority. So unrestricted sense enjoyment, animalistic life. Little better than them are the worshippers of the demigods. At least they have started accepting an authority. But still, they are using those necessities or the awards, what they are getting for their sense gratification. But at least they have started accepting the authority. So where they will go, because they are demigod worshippers, they will get Devata planets. But still they are not freed from any sins. They are going up and down in this earthly planet only. One who understands the ultimate benefactor is Krishna is freed from the sins. That means he attains moksha, mukti. That is how he attains the spiritual planet. Like yesterday we performed Narsimha Yajna. Ultimate benefactor is Narsimha. That is the Supreme Personality of God. So understanding that and performing the sacrifice, then the person gets a benefit. And what is that benefit? He gets the taste of devotional service. Slowly, when he tastes devotional service, he progresses in devotional service and attains the state of nishtha. Nishtha means complete faith. Then ruchi, asakti, bhava, prema. So in this way, 9 process of devotional service, which will anyhow will be doing in the Sunday class, Sunday evening class. We'll be doing also 9 process of devotional service also in the nectar of devotion. Now let us see what is parasparam bhavam. How the sacrifice is very much important. Annad bhavanti bhutani parchanyat anna sambhavaha yagyat bhavati parchanyo yakya karma samudbhavaha. Annad bhavanti bhutani parchanyat anna sambhavaha yagyat bhavati parchanyo yakya karma samudbhavaha. So annad bhavanti bhutani. Annad bhavanti bhutani. Everyone wants anna. It is said in this Kali Yuga, prana is there in anna. Where is prana? In other yugas, they used to keep their pranas in different places. Many times Rakshasas, they keep prana somewhere else. And you go on beating the Rakshasa, nothing happens. Like that, in this Kali Yuga, where is the prana of the people? In anna. No one can remain hungry. It's very difficult to remain hungry because everybody wants to eat. Now, every living entity wants to eat food grains. Now, the food grains are produced because of parjanya. Parjanya means rains. Grains come from rains. Okay. Then yagyad bhavati parjanya. These rains are possible only because of yajna, sacrifice. Indra is very happy. Then he bestows rains. Now, this sacrifice is dependent on one's duties. You have to have something, even to perform in yajna, you require so many ingredients. How will you get the ingredients without Lakshmi? That is why the prescribed duties, whatever prescribed duties you're doing, you get the phala out of it. That phala you're using it in sacrifice. Because of the sacrifice, Indra is very happy. And thus there is rain, thus there is grain. Thus there is sustenance of the living entities. As much as sacrifice is there, so much the nature or Indra is very happy. Somebody may say, what is the scientific approach for this verse? You see, when you perform the yajna, so much of smoke goes. In this way, when the smoke goes, naturally there will be cloud. Even if you don't want to believe. Even if you don't want to believe also, you have to believe. Because when there is a lot of smoke, a lot of clouds are formed. The clouds are formed, get rains, and get rains. Even if a person wants to have a scientific approach, but everything is dependent on your prescribed duties. If you work, you have money. You have money, you can perform yajna. So you have to pay the priest also, no? You cannot just perform. You have to have some ingredients also for that. Ghee and all you have to have. Without ghee, what yajna? You have to have shamik lakdi, so that wood. You have to have gobar kanda. You have to have bricks. So many ingredients are required. You have to put ahuti. What is yajna? You are pleasing. You are actually feeding the devata. You are actually pleasing. You are actually feeding yajna purusha. Yajna purusha is Krishna himself. The flame represents the tongue of Lord. Lord eats in three ways. One is through yajna, one is through brahmana, and one is directly feeding him as naivedya. Direct feeding is in the yajna. Naivedya is keeping plate before him and telling him to eat. So he will eat and give it back. He has to give it back. If he doesn't give back, the next day nobody is going to give him. So bichara, he has to give back. And one is feeding brahmanas, and that is how Brahmana Mukhi Krishna eats. So this is how Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhavah yagyad bhavanti parjanyo yagya karma samutpavah. Now Baladev Vidyabhushan, a great commentator on the Bhagavad Gita, writes, Ye indradi angataya vasati vasthitam yagyam sarveshwaram vishnum abhyacharyat chesham ashnanti tena tad देहयात्रां सम्पादयन्ति ते सन्तः सर्वेश्वरस्य यज्ञपुरुषस्य भक्ता सर्वतिर्विषये अनादिकाल विवृद्धैर् आत्मानुभव प्रतिबन्धकैर् निखिलैः प्रापैर्विमुच्यन्ते. The Supreme Lord is known as Yajna or personal beneficiary of all sacrifices. He is the master of the demigods. One who serves him as the different limbs of the body serve the whole. He is a master of the demigods, and they serve him as the different limbs of the body serve the whole. Demigods like Indra, Chandra, Varuna, they are appointed officers who manage material affairs. And the Vedas direct sacrifices to satisfy these demigods so that they may be pleased to supply air, light, water sufficiently to produce food grains. When Krishna is worshipped, demigods who are different limbs of the Lord, they are also worshipped. There is no separate need to worship the demigods. For this reason, the devotees of the Lord who are in Krishna consciousness, they offer food to Lord and then eat. And this is a process which nourishes the body spiritually. By such action, not only are past sinful reactions in the body vanquished, but the body becomes immunized to all contamination of material nature. When there is an epidemic disease, an antiseptic vaccine protects a person from the attack of such an epidemic. Protects a person from the attack of such an epidemic. Similarly, food offered to Lord Krishna and then taken by us makes us sufficiently resistant to material affection. And one who is accustomed to this practice is called a devotee of the Lord, Santaha. Therefore, a person in Krishna consciousness who eats only food offered to Krishna can counteract all reactions of past material infections, which are impediments to the progress of self-realization. On the other hand, one who does not do so continues to increase the volume of sinful actions, and this prepares the next body to resemble hogs and dogs, to suffer the resultant reactions of all sins. The material world is full of contaminations, and one who is immunized by accepting prasadam of the Lord, food offered to Lord, is saved from the attack, whereas one who does not do so becomes subjected to contamination. You see, a Prabhupada starts with what? Here, what is the verse? Food, living entities wants food. Okay, food grains are given by rains. Rains are given by a sacrifice. Sacrifice is dependent on your karma. Okay. Why this whole long history that you should give it to first to the Lord and then have? Because this food, if you take it directly, you will be bound in this material world. Again, you have to come. That is why, to be freed from the karmic reaction, one has to offer the food grains first to Lord, because it is Lord who is giving through the sacrifice. We may say Indra is giving. It's not Indra who is giving. It is Krishna who is giving. Through the sacrifice, you are pleasing Krishna. Krishna gives you food grains. You have to offer again the food grains to Krishna, then have it. So that is why this much big paragraph. I'm giving the quotation of Baldev Vidya Bhushan, where very clearly it is said, Ye Indradi Angataya Vasti Tam Yagyam Sarveshwaram Vishnum Abhyacharyat. Like how you have to, like how the demigods, they are the body of Krishna, they are the limbs of Krishna. When Krishna is fed, automatically all the demigods are fed. Food grains or vegetables are actually eatables. The human beings eat different kinds of food grains, vegetables, fruits, etc. Animals eat the refuse of the food grains, vegetables, grass, plants, etc. That means, you see, everybody is actually eating the food grains only. One animal may eat another animal, but that animal is eating food grains. Indirectly, this animal is also eating food grains. Human beings who are accustomed to eating meat, flesh must also depend on the vegetation in order to eat the animals. Because if he is eating a chicken, chicken eats some grains. They are also dependent. You may say, yeah, we are not at all taking any food grains. We are only taking chicken, mutton, bakri. Bakri is also eating what? Grass, food grains. Therefore, ultimately, we have to depend on the production of the field and not on the production of the big factories. The field production is due to sufficient rain from the sky. Such rains are controlled by demigods like Indra, Surya, Chandra, etc. And they are all servants of the Lord. So they are given this department. We should actually, we should be thankful to the demigods also, because they are taking care of the department. The Lord can be satisfied by sacrifices. Therefore, one who cannot perform them will find himself in scarcity. Whoever performs sacrifices, their house is full of grains, all dhana, all sampatti. That is why in our Vedic tradition, sacrifices have a lot of prominence, and we give more importance. But who don't perform sacrifices, in their house there will be always scarcity. That is the law of nature. Yajna, specifically the Sankirtan Yajna. Now see, Prabhupada boils down to Sankirtan Yajna. Why? Because Sankirtan Yajna is the Yajna for this age. It must be performed to save us at least from the scarcity of food supply. That is why in every Yajna, first thing what we do is Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Even Vaishnava Yajnas, they accompany with Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Any demigod's Yajna also is done to remove some graha doshas. Then he has to perform, he has to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But the demigod Yajna is also actually for Krishna only. But a demigod is given more importance that time. And this particular demigod. Then Krishna gives the benefit through the demigod to that person. But in this Kali Yuga, what's the most important Yajna? That is Sankirtana Yajna. Okay, read the verse, Mataji. Jai Shri Mataji, read the verse. Aruna also read the verse.
Hare Krishna. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjadanna sambhava.
Parjanyad.
Parjanyad
Anna Sambhava.
Anna sambhava. Yagyal bhavati parjanyo. यज्ञकर्म samulbhava.
Pramudbhavaha.
Bhavaha. Purport read.
Now I have read.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji. अन्नात् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादसम् अन्नसम्भवः यज्ञात् भवन्ति पर्जन्यो यज्ञकर्म समुद्भवः.
Very good. Yagyad bhavati. Bhavanti is not there. Bhavati.
हाँ, यज्ञात् भवन्ति. Hare Krishna.
You improved a lot, Aruna. Very good.
Because you are my Shiksha Guru, no Mataji, you gave Shiksha to me on that.
It's good. You are not doing. If you do mistake, then yes, Mataji, you are my Shiksha Guru. That is why you are not able to teach properly.
No, that Shiksha Guru Mataji, another Shiksha Guru.
Okay. Karma brahmodbhavam viddhi brahmakshara samodbhavam tasma sarvagatam brahma nityam yajne pratishthitam. Karma brahmodbhavam viddhi brahmakshara samodbhavam tasmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yajne pratishthitam. Karma brahmodbhavam viddhi. Chant. Gautam chant. Karma brahmodbhavam viddhi. Karma brahmodbhavam viddhi. Brahmakshara samudbhavam. Brahmakshara samudbhavam. Tasmat sarvagatam brahma. Tasmat sarvagatam brahma. Nityam yajne pratishthitam. Nityam yajne pratishthitam. Go back to the previous verse. Living entities, jivas, are dependent on grains. Grains are dependent. Jivas here refers to the living bodies. Soul doesn't want any grain. The body wants the grain. Living bodies want grain. Grain depends on rain. Rain depends on yajna. Yajna depends on prescribed duties. Now, prescribed duties are given in the Vedas. What type of duty a person has to perform? They are prescribed in the Vedas. Prescribed duties are prescribed in the Vedas. Activities, regulated activities are prescribed in the Vedas. Vidhi, understand, Krishna says. Brahmakshara samudbhavam. And Vedas emanate from Lord. Not spoken by Lord. Breathed loud by Lord. When Lord breathes, Vedas emanate. Just see. When Lord speaks, what emanate? What comes out? Who can tell?
Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad Gita. So when Lord breathes, Vedas come. So now, sarvat tasmat sarvagatam brahma. So this sarvagatam brahma, Lord who is pervading everywhere, nityam yajne pratishthitam, he is situated in that yajna. Now see, ghuma fira ke where it came. Now see how Krishna is saying. Your sacrifice is dependent on your prescribed duty. Prescribed duty is there in the Vedas. Vedas emanate from the breath of Lord. And Lord is pervading everywhere. And Lord is there in the sacrifice. Lord is there in the sacrifice. That means Lord has emphasized on the performance of sacrifice. Sankirtana yajna. This is a sacrifice. How it is a sacrifice? You sacrifice. Sacrifice means you give up. You give up your sense gratification. You're utilizing your tongue in Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. What you do in the sacrifice? You chant the shlokas. You chant the mantras. You are sacrificing your nonsensical talks. The first thing what we sacrifice is all the nonsensical talks. Or the tongue is the most softest organ in our body. It has the capacity to break your bone. You talk something nonsense, somebody will come and punch you. Then your teeth and all is broken because of your tongue. This tongue is very difficult to be controlled. You like to eat all nonsensical food. You like to talk all nonsensical things. Then the best way is perform sacrifice. In the sacrifice, a person, the swaha, swaha, at least others are also told, you don't have to chant the mantras, okay, listen. At least say swaha. Yesterday, everybody will say swaha, everybody will doing. So in this way, the tongue is utilized in the service of Lord. First thing is tongue, the sacrifice of all nonsensical things. Because of all nonsensical desires, nonsense, and the remnants of this yajna is taken. Because the remnants are taken, the tongue is purified. The talk is purified, the tongue is purified, consciousness is purified. Ahar shuddho sattva shuddhi. Because of the purification, your existence also is purified. Okay. Aruna read. Aruna read, na? Okay. Aditya read.
Hare Krishna. Karma brahmodhavam vidhi brahmakshara samudhavam tasmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yajna pratishtitam. Translation: regulated activities are prescribed in the Vedas, and the Vedas are directly manifested from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, the all-pervading transcendence is eternally situated in acts of sacrifice. Purport. Yagnartha karma, or the necessity of work for the satisfaction of Krishna only, is more expressly stated in this verse. If we have to work for the satisfaction of the Yagna Purusha, Vishnu, then we must find out the direction of work in Brahman or the transcendental Vedas. The Vedas are therefore codes of working directions. Anything performed without the directions of the Vedas is called vikarma or unauthorized or sinful work. Therefore, one should take direction from the Vedas to be saved from the reaction of work. As one has to work in ordinary life by the direction of the state, one similarly has to work under the direction of supreme state of the Lord. Such directions in the Vedas are directly manifested from the breathing of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is said, Asya Mahato Bhutasya Nish Nishvashitam Etat Yad Rigvedo Yajurveda Samavedo Atharva Angirasaha. The four Vedas, namely the Rig Ved, Yajur Samaved, and Atharva Ved, are all emanations from the breathing of the great personality of Godhead. Brihad Aranyakya Upanishad 4.5.11. The Lord, being omnipotent, can speak by breathing air, for as it is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, the Lord has the omnipotence to perform through each of his senses the action of all other senses. In other words, the Lord can speak through his breathing and he can impregnate by his eyes. In fact, it is said that he glanced over material nature and thus fathered all living entities. After creating or impregnating the conditioned souls into the womb of material nature, he gave his direction in the Vedic wisdom as to how such conditioned souls can return home back to Godhead. We should always remember that the conditioned souls in the material nature are all eager for material enjoyment. But the Vedic directions are so made that one can satisfy one's perverted desires, then return to Godhead, having finished his so-called enjoyment. It is a chance for the conditioned souls to attain liberation. Therefore, the conditioned souls must try to follow the process of yajna by becoming Krishna conscious. Even those who have not followed the Vedic injunctions may adopt the principle of Krishna consciousness, and that will take the place of the performance of Vedic yajnas or karmas. Hare Krishna.
Next. Evam pravartitam chakram nanuvartayati hayah aghayurindriya ramo mogam partha sajivati. Evam pravartitam chakram nanuvartayati hayah aghayurindriya ramo mogam partha sajivati. Chant along with me. Evam pravartitam chakram Nanu vartayati hayah. Nanu vartayati hayah. Aghayurindriya ramo. Aghayurindriya ramo. Moham partasa jivati. Moham partasa jivati. Evam pravartitam. Pravartitam means whatever has been given in the Vedas. Chakram. This is a cycle which has been given. Living entities depend on grains, grains depend on rains, rains depend on yajna, yajna depends on prescribed duties are dependent on the Vedas, Vedas are given by Lord, Lord is there everywhere, Lord is there in the yajna. This is the chakram. If this chakra is not followed, it is given the Vedas only. If a person does not do this, agha ayuhu, his life is full of sins. Indriya ramaha, and he is very much satisfied in his life is meant for satisfying his sense gratification. His life is meant for gratifying his senses. Mogham, thus he wastes his life uselessly, is just uselessly living. What is the purpose of his life? Why a person has got a human body? There should be some purpose now. Why we have got a human body? Some purpose should be there. If just we have to waste our life and sense gratification, then better we get a pig's body. Because in pig's body, they can do maximum sense gratification. If you are really interested in sense gratification, why have a human body for that? Because in human body, we have so much of limitations. We cannot mate like pigeons. We cannot eat continuously like the pigs. We cannot sleep like the bear. And why waste the human life? And why utilize the human life? We cannot bark like dogs. We cannot fight like dogs. Even if we want to fight also, we cannot fight. So better is, and we cannot eat like elephants. We are not able to do anything properly. Ahar, nidra, bhai, maithun, that also we cannot do properly in this human body. That is why if really we want to utilize our human body properly, then we have to understand this cycle very nicely. If we do not follow this cycle, we are uselessly wasting our life. And such a person lives in vain. Krishna says, lives in vain. Faltu jira, lives in vain. Okay, Gita Mataji, read.
Hare Krishna. Evam pravartitam chakram nanuvartayati hayaha aghayurindriya ramo mokham partha sajivati. Translation. My dear Arjuna, one who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice thus established by the Vedas certainly leads a life full of sin. Living only for the satisfaction of the senses, such a person lives in vain. Purport. The Mammonist philosophy of work very hard and enjoy sense gratification is condemned herein by the Lord. Therefore, for those who want to enjoy this material world, the above-mentioned cycle of performing yajnas is absolutely necessary. One who does not follow such regulations is living a very risky life, being condemned more and more. By nature's law, this human form of life is specifically meant for self-realization in either of the three ways, namely Kama Yoga, Jnana Yoga, or Bhakti Yoga. There is no necessity of rigidly following the performances of the prescribed yajnas for the transcendentalists who are above vice and virtue. But those who are engaged in sense gratification require purification by the above-mentioned cycle of yajna performances. There are different kinds of activities. Those who are not Krishna conscious are certainly engaged in sensory consciousness. Therefore, they need to execute pious work. The the yajna system is planned in such a way that sensory conscious persons may satisfy their desires without becoming entangled in the reaction of sense gratificatory work. The prosperity of the world depends not on our own efforts, but on the background arrangement of the Supreme Lord, directly carried out by the demigods. Therefore, the yajnas are directly aimed at the particular demigods mentioned in the Vedas. Indirectly, it is the practice of Krishna consciousness, because when one masters the performance of yajnas, one is sure to become Krishna conscious. But if by performing yajnas one does not become Krishna conscious, such principles are counted as only moral codes. One should not, therefore, limit his progress only to the point of moral codes, but should transcend them to attain Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So one should not therefore limit his progress on little moral codes. Don't become a good person. Try to become a divine person. Because beyond good is divine. Give divinity to others. Don't be good and expect something good from others. These moral codes, they are just a subset of the spiritual codes. The spiritual code is a big vessel, the moral codes are smaller vessels. So don't try to do something good to the society. Try to do divine to the society. Give consciousness to everyone. Now 3.17, the most important verse, confusing verse for Arjuna. And the last verse, 4th chapter's last verse. These two verses are the reasons for the 5th chapter to start. Like 2.47 and 2.49, they were two seemingly contradictory verses, seemingly contradictory verses or seemingly confusing verses for Arjuna. In the same way, 3.17 and 4.45. Sorry, yeah, 42. 4.42. 3.17 and 4.42. They are again, it is seemingly confusing verses. But it is not a confusing verse. Let us see. Yastvatmaratirev syat atmatruptascha manavah atmanyeva cha santushtas tasya karyam na vidyate. Yastvatmaratirev syat atmatruptascha manavah atmanyeva cha santushtas tasya karyam na vidyate. Yastvatmaratirev syad atmatruptascha manavah atmanyeva cha santushtas atmanyeva cha santushtas tasya karyam na vidyate. Tasya karyam na vidyate. Yastvatmaratirev syat atmaratihi. Yahatu atmaratihi. Anyone who is taking pleasure in the self, that means is self-realized. How is he? How he remains syat? Syat means how he remains atmatuptaha. He is self-illuminated. He is very much contented. He doesn't desire anything. He is very much peaceful. Atmanyevaha. Atmanyevaha means he is within himself. He doesn't want any friends. He doesn't want any enemies also. Nobody wants enemies anyhow. Anyhow, he doesn't seek anybody. He is very much contented within himself. He is santushtaha. Santushta means satisfied. For such a person, there is no duty. Now just see. Just now Krishna said, Karmanyeva adhikaraste. Then he says, Durena havyakramta. And now he says, if a person is satisfied within himself, he is Atmarati. Atmarati means taking pleasure in the self. For such person, he doesn't have to do any duty. Arjuna will say, I am very much satisfied. You are there, O Krishna. Why should I perform my duty? Isn't it? Anybody can say this. Any direct understanding of this verse is this only. Tasya karyam na vidyate. No work for him. Just be peaceful. You are satisfied. You are enjoying yourself. You are Atmarati. He is satisfied. You are taking pleasure in your own self. Then for you, there is no duty. Anybody can think like this. This verse can mean, if your direct meaning is taken, oh, he doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to go to any work, anything. But Krishna is not meaning this. Tasya karyam na vidyate. He doesn't have any material work. Every activity is anchored, keeping Krishna in the center. Then only he can become Atmatruptaha, Atmasantushtaha, Atmarati. Atmarati means taking pleasure in the self. And who is one's self? One is self, one is soul. One's soul is who? Krishna. So taking pleasure in the self means serving Krishna. For that person, there is no reaction of the work. No work refers to no reaction for the work. He doesn't do any material work. His every work is spiritual. Right from his brushing the teeth, right from his taking bath, right from his evacuation, right from his taking bath, dressing, everything becomes spiritual. Why? Because he is doing it for Krishna. Because he has to get ready for serving Krishna. He has to get ready for chanting the holy name. That is why he is cleaning the body. He is cleaning inside, outside, everything. So that morning he can sit and chant the holy name. So when you say duties, it doesn't refer to going to office only. It refers everything, right from your evacuation, right from your sleep, right from your brushing teeth, right from your taking bath, right from your closing the eyes to sleep. It refers to every activity. When you say karyam, refers to activity. Every karyam, there is one reaction. But if you are doing it for Krishna, your whole consciousness is, I have to wake up early in the morning, I have to chant the holy name, I have to read Bhagavad Gita Bhagavatam, I have to go to office. Right from your going to office to doing all your petty activities, everything becomes spiritual. Tasya karyam na vidyate. That is why there is no material work. Like somebody dresses. Why he dresses? So that he can chant he can come to Lord and worship. You cannot come in some faltu dress and worship. You have to put nice tilak and all and come before Lord. Dressing for or beautification for a devotee is application of Urdhva Pundram, wearing fresh clothes in the morning. Or some people, they just, I don't know what is this jeans pant. One month they will not wash. They'll just hang it. It doesn't work like that. It's such a dirty pant. But a devotee, he wears simple things in the morning, dhoti, kurta or sari or something, so that he is wearing every day. Every day he is changing the cloth. You cannot come with a dirty cloth to Lord. You have to come with the fresh clothes. Then you say, what about the body? Body itself is dirty. That is why you're taking bath. Okay. Ashish Prabhu, read.
Hare Krishna. यस्त्वात्मरतिरेव स्यात् आत्मतृप्तश्च मानव आत्मज्ञेव च सन्तुष्टस्तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते.
Wonderful.
Translation. But for one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one whose self-realization, and one who is satisfied in the self only, fully satisfied, for him there is no duty. A person who is fully Krishna conscious and is fully satisfied by his act in Krishna consciousness no longer has any duty to perform. Due to his being Krishna conscious, all impurity within is instantly cleansed, an effect of many thousands of yagna performances. By such clearing of consciousness, and one becomes fully confident of his eternal position in relationship with the Supreme. His duty thus becomes self-illuminated by the grace of Lord, and therefore he no longer has any obligations to the Vedic injunction. Such a Krishna conscious person is no longer interested in material activities and no longer takes pleasure in material arrangement like wine, woman, and similar in, infatuations.
Infatuations.
Sorry. That is correct.
Infatuations. You see
Infatuations.
Prabhupada's one words. What is the meaning of infatuations? All these are illusory things. Wine, women. We think, okay, this is going to give us pleasure. This is not going to give us pleasure. Why this name Hiranyakashipu? Hiranya means one who takes pleasure in gold. Kashipu means one who likes to sleep in the bed with a woman. So that is why lusty desires and interested in money and women. Those persons are Hiranyakashipus. So a Krishna conscious person becomes divine. He is no longer interested in all this material activity. Naiva tasya krutenartho na kruteneha kaschana na chasya sarva bhuteshu kaschit artha vipashrayah. Naiva tasya krutenartho na kruteneha kaschana na chasya sarva bhuteshu kaschit artha vipashrayah. Now read along with me. नैव तस्य कृतेनार्थो नैव तस्य कृतेनार्थो न कृते नेह कश्चन न कृते नेह कश्चन न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु कश्चिदर्थव्यपाश्रयः Kashchidartha vyapashrayah. So naiva tasyaha krute nartho. Na akrutenena iha kaschan. About whom we are talking now? We are talking about tasya. Who is a tasya? The tasya is the 17th verse ka tasya. A self-realized soul or Atma Triptashcha or Atma Santushta, such self-realized soul, he has no purpose, no artha, no purpose in discharging the duty. Why is he going for work? Don't know. No purpose. And na न अस्यः सर्वभूतेषु कश्चित् अर्थविपाश्रयः. One minute. Here, first go here. न अकृतेनः. He has no purpose in not doing also any work. If he is doing the work, no artha. If he is not doing any work also, no artha. Why is it like that? That means he has no purpose in not doing the work. And he has no reason for not performing the work because na chasyah sarva bhuteshu. He has not taken any shelter of, he has not taken shelter of any living entities. He is not indebted to anyone. Somebody calls you for marriage and you are studying Bhagavad Gita. It is up to you whether to go or not to go. A self-realized soul, he may go, he may not go. If he is going also, he has no material purpose behind it. If he is going also, there is no material reason behind it. Because when a self-realized soul goes to any functions, the purpose of going to function is to give Krishna consciousness. So he has no material purpose of going. He has no material purpose of not going also. Because he is not dependent on any living entities, he is dependent only on Lord. He has no reason for keeping any relations He has no reason for not keeping. He has no reason for keeping also. He may have relations. He may have relatives. He may talk to them. He may not talk to them also. There is no material reason for doing any work. He is not obliged. Summon bonum of this verse is he is not obliged to anyone. He has taken shelter of Krishna. Okay, Mayur Prabhu, read the verse. Read the couplet. So we'll stop here only. Yeah.
नैवत्यस्य कृतेनार्थो न कृते नेह कश्चन न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु कश्चित् अर्थ व्यपाश्रयः. I mean, a self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties, nor has any reason not to perform such work, nor has he any need to depend on any other living being. Further, a self-realized man is no longer obliged to perform any prescribed duty, save and accept activities, in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is not inactivity either, as will be explained in the following verses. A Krishna conscious man does not take shelter of any person, man or demigod. Whatever he does in Krishna consciousness is sufficient in the discharge of his obligation.
Okay, one more verse we'll take. So whatever he is doing it as a matter of in discharge of his obligations, as a matter of just as a duty. He is not obliged to anything, anyone. Tasmadasakta satatam karyam karma samachara asakto yacharan karma paramapnoti purushaha. Tasmadasakta satatam karyam karma samachara asakto yacharan karma paramapnoti purushaha. Tasmadasakta satatam tasmad asaktah satatam karyam karma samachara asakto yacharan karma acharo yacharan asakto yacharan karma paramapnoti purushaha. Tasmad asaktah satatam. That is why Krishna says, therefore. Tasmad means therefore. Therefore, asaktah satatam karyam. Just do your work without attachment for the sake of doing. Don't expect any results. That is why he is not dependent on the result. He may do, he may not do. Do as a matter of duty, Krishna says, samachara. Asaktaha, 2 times Krishna says, asaktaha, asataha. Asakta hi acharan karma. In this way, he has to perform the activity. Then he will attain Lord. Paramapnoti purushaha. How to attain Lord? What is the purpose of our chanting? Why we are chanting? Why we are performing all the spiritual activities? That is to attain the Lord. And when that can happen? When we are unattached to the fruits of activities. When a person does as a matter of duty. And by working like this, he will attain the Supreme. That is how he attains the divinity. Okay, Gautam, read.
तस्मात् असत्ता सततं कार्यकर्म समाचर असत्तो हच्चार
Yacharan.
यचरन् कर्म परमो प्रोक्ति पुरुषः
Paramapnoti.
परमा प्रोक्ति पुरुषः
Purushaha.
पुरुषः. Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment one attains the Supreme. The Supreme is the Supreme is the personality of Godhead for the devotees, and liberation for the impersonalist. A person, therefore, acting for Krishna or in Krishna consciousness under proper guidance without attachment to the result of the work is certainly making progress towards the supreme goal of life. Arjuna is told that he should fight in the battle of Kurukshetra for the interest of Krishna because Krishna wanted him to fight. To be a good man or a non-violent man is a personal attachment, but to act on the behalf of Supreme is to act without attachment of the result. That is the perfect action of the highest degree recommended by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Without Vedic rituals like prescribed duties are performed for purification of impairs activities that were performed in the field of sense activation. But action in Krishna consciousness is transcendental to the reaction of good or evil worth. A Krishna conscious man has no attachment for the result but acts on the behalf of Krishna alone. He engages in all kinds of activity but is completely non-attached.
So he will do all type of activity, but he has no attachment. He has no attachment to the fruits of the activities. If you see a Krishna conscious person, he is doing all the activities. What is the difference between a Krishna conscious person and a normal person? An ordinary person, he does an activity for his sense gratification. Krishna conscious person does an activity, he leaves the results because he is only dependent on Krishna. He is not dependent on the results of the work. Okay. So here we'll stop. Any questions you can ask.
Hare Krishna Mataji. One
Yeah.
small question. So for Arjuna, he knew that Krishna wanted him to fight, so his activity was known to him. But for us, how do we know that what kind of activities we are supposed to do and still remain unattached?
Bhagavad Gita teaches us. Bhagavad Gita teaches us that Varnashrama, whatever ashrama we are, Grahastha ashrama, or that in Kali Yuga, the Varnashrama is also not functioning. A Brahman is not doing his Brahmanical duty. Kshatriya is not performing Kshatriya duty. Everybody are taught to go to office because Britishers, the personification of Kali has entered. They gave up the Gurukul system. Before the invasion of the Britishers and all, it was Gurukul system which was functioning. In Gurukul, Varnashrama is emphasized. The Brahmana is to do Brahmanical duties of performing sacrifices, reading the scriptures, guiding the society. Kshatriyas is to take part in the war. Vaishyas is to do the trading, commerce, agriculture, cow caring. All these things is to be done. Shudras is to help the other societies. But the modern education has made everybody Shudras. Shudras means working under someone, expecting a salary. Shudras are paid. Vaishyas earn profits. Kshatriyas, they plunder and give it to the Brahmanas. They plunder. They plunder means they capture other kingdoms. And the Kshatriyas, they are given taxes. They are the government. They are given the taxes. And with that taxes, the Brahmanas were nourished. Brahmanas are never paid. Whatever necessities Brahmanas are given, like cow is the necessity. Small agriculture farm is to be given. What more a Brahmana wants? Simple living, I think. But in Kali Yuga, there is, as and when the Kali Yuga is advancing, people have forgotten their Varnashrama duties. Gurukul system has gone. So now, how to understand then Bhagavad Gita? Whatever we are doing, at least do. And keep the system of charity. Help Krishna conscious movement, chant the holy name, encourage the missionary activities. This only we can do. Because according to Varna Ashrama, we are not leading our life.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other doubt? Gautam, no doubt.
What type of yajnas performed by the Dharmatand people for any fruit?
Yeah. So Karma Kanda is a section in the Vedas where it is a section of Samhitas, Karma Kanda section. Worship the demigods, get the benefits. So materialistic person is interested in the Karma Kanda section. But again, he also is performing sinful activity if he utilizes the result for sense gratification. A materialistic person means sense gratification. So Karma Kand is a section, no doubt, that is given by Lord only. But that Karma Kand has to be spiritualized. Vedesha sarve rahamevi vedyaha. Krishna says, through the Vedas, I am to be known. So through the Karma Kand section also, Krishna has to be known. So we should not become allergic to the word Karma Kand. Karma Kand here refers to offering the results of one's karma in the sacrifice.
So, what about the people who perform karma yajna for their own benefit? So why the demigods take ahuti? Means why they accept their offerings?
They don't accept. They give it to Krishna. And Krishna says you can, and Krishna gives them back. And that is how Krishna gives them the power to give the results. Demigods, they know. And if the demigods think, like Indra thought, why I should give it to Krishna? Immediately Krishna took everything. And only your festival was conducted. Even if in a small fraction of time pride enters, Krishna knows to smash the pride of the demigods. Then even that small thing also Indra got, that also he did not get. Everything was taken by Lord. Indra only does all this mistake. No? King of the demigods. Okay. Hey, you want to chant any shloka? Hey, Nainu Manjari. You want to chant shloka? Come here. Wait, I'll call her. Come here. All are waiting. You want to hear shloka? Come. Shravanam Kirtanam full. Okay, yesterday you became Prahlad Maharaj, na? Can you hear? Could you hear?
Yeah.
Wait, let us chant again.
Hari Bol.
Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasam Sakyam Atmanivedanam Itipam Sarpita Vishnu Bhakti Shenava Lakshana Kriyeta Bhagavatyadha Tanmanyeti Tamotam.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Krishna.
Go and play.
Right side of the shape, coloring.
Yesterday she became Bhakta Prahlad. I'll put one video in this video. Aditya, you can put some videos. It was shared, na?
Yeah, sure, Mother.
Where Narsima comes out. That 4 videos you can put in this group also. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Ram. Vancha kalpataru desha kripa sindhu devacha. Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo Namaha. Vaishnavendra